Hello everybody, thank you for being here. My name is Adrian Magaña and this is another video in my series of videos talking about Maitreya, the Masters of Wisdom, uh, the Return of the Christ and the Masters of Wisdom. But before I get into today's topic, first I want to apologize. I do understand that my volume is a little low. I will take care of that, meaning I have to invest in a better microphone. So, in the meantime, um, thank you for adjusting your device so that you can listen to my videos. I appreciate that. Second, uh, brief disclaimer. Uh, for some of you, the information that I will be sharing here is new, and some of it might be hard to believe. Some of it might contradict the things that you previously have known. So to that I have to say that is completely fine. Um, I'm here to share some information that I fully believe in 100%. That's why I am doing these videos. But you don't have to believe what I have to say. Um, just listen, analyze it, take it into your heart, take it into your mind, think about it, ponder on it, and take whatever you need. You might believe 5%, you might believe 10, 15% of what I have to say, you might believe all of it. That is completely up to you. I would recommend that you think about it and continue your own research of what exactly I am talking about. These are new concepts for some of you, so that's fine. Please do that. I will be leaving some links uh, to other websites where you can continue reading about this concept of Maitreya, the masters, the esoteric teachings, the edgeless wisdom teachings. All right, let's jump into today's topic: the return of the Christ and the masters of wisdom. As I said before in a previous video, I mentioned a little bit about the concept of evolution, how everything in the cosmos is evolving. Nothing in the cosmos is static. Everything is moving. Everything is moving within this path of evolution. Everything is at one point or another. Maybe at the very beginning, which is this is the evolution of consciousness. That's what exactly what I'm talking about. So the evolution at the very beginning is the evolution of a very low level of consciousness, um, almost known, and that would be more or less described as matter, right? So the evolution from the almost non-existent level of consciousness to the opposite end, which would be a spirit, in a sense. So consciousness evolved from matter into spirit, um, into cosmic spirit. My understanding of the concept of God is full consciousness. Full spiritual consciousness is one way to describe what God is. There are many ways to describe God. That is one way. It's not the only one, and it doesn't fully describe what God is. Um, so everything in the cosmos is traveling. We are both traveling individually, or we travel with as part of a system. Everything is part of a bigger system because in the cosmos there are no separation. Everything is interconnected. So we are always traveling individually, and we're always traveling as part of larger systems. In this case, we travel both as individuals, as part of the human family, and the human family is traveling as part of the planetary family, right? The planetary evolution. And the planet is evolving within the solar system, and the solar system is evolving within the galaxy, and so on. So the rate of speed that we travel is decided by us. We can move faster or slower depending on how we choose. Most of us are not aware of this path of evolution, and most of us are not aware how to speed up or slow down this process. I will try to convey some of my understandings throughout these videos. As I said before, Maitreya was the first member of the human family that, through this process of evolution, came out of the human kingdom and entered the spiritual kingdom. As I said before, he and his brother, the Buddha, did so more or less at the same time, and they were the first two to enter the spiritual kingdom. After that, a few others have followed, not many. This path is not an easy one, and most of us are technically in the very beginning of this. We still have a long way to go. So a few others have entered the spiritual hierarchy, have entered the spiritual kingdom, and are working with Maitreya. Some of them have very specific roles related to the evolution of humanity and related to the evolution of the planet. Others, when we enter the spiritual kingdom, when we take what is known as the fifth initiation, and we become masters, as I said before, we can travel around the cosmos and continue our evolution in other parts of the cosmos. If we choose that, we also have the option to do our studies abroad and then return to the planet. Or we can stay here on the planet and teach. And like I said, many masters take that path and are working alongside Maitreya. They are the masters that will be returning with Maitreya into the public sphere and teach us and remind us how to move forward faster. Move forward faster into the new age, the age of Aquarius. So, for the last 2,000 years or so, we have been under the influence of the age of Pisces, the influence of the energies streaming from the constellation of Pisces. Every constellation has the ability to release certain energies, and these energies have very specific qualities that affect the evolution of both us individuals and the evolution of humanity, evolution of the planet, and the evolution of the solar system. So for the last 2,000 years, we have been under the influence of the constellation of Pisces. We have been moving into the influence of the constellation of Aquarius. Aquarius is the water carrier, and Maitreya is the avatar for the age of Aquarius. Thus, he is the water carrier. In one of his roles as the water carrier is to release the waters of life, and that is one of the things that he has been doing now for several years. He releases the waters of life, which is love. The waters of life is the energy of love. Maitreya, who embodies the energy of love, has that ability to release love into the planet. That is one of his roles. And for several years, he has been releasing this energy, and he has been aided. He has help. He has cosmic help in order to do so. And there are certain great avatars that are working with him. The spirit of peace and equilibrium, and the avatar of synthesis are working with him. I will go into who these great avatars are. These are extraplanetary avatars that are working with Maitreya. So, the return of the Christ. What does that mean, right? There are different ways to look at this. One way to look at the return of the Christ and what that means is understanding what is Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness and the awakening of Christ consciousness in the hearts of humanity. Right? Christ consciousness is love. Is our ability to receive and understand the energy of love and put it to work. When we do that, then Christ consciousness awakens within our hearts. So when enough of the members of the human family begin to absorb this energy and put it to work, then we can say that Christ consciousness has awakened within humanity. And that is one of the ways that we can say that the Christ has returned, because the Christ consciousness has returned within the hearts of humanity. That is one of the ways of describing the return of the Christ. But the return of the Christ also means what the prophecies have been telling us, in particular in this case, the Christian prophecy of the return of the Christ. Um, the Christ, besides being an energy, the energy of love, is also a position within the spiritual hierarchy. Within the spiritual hierarchy, there are three very specific roles or positions that are held by three specific individuals, three masters, three great masters. Um, these positions are the Manu, which embodies the will aspect. Uh, the will of God or the will of the Logos is embodied by the Manu. The second one is the Christ or the world teacher, and the Christ embodies the energy of love. And the third one is the Mahachohan or Mahakohan, um, which embodies the energy which is known as the active intelligence aspect of divinity or active intelligence aspect of um, planetary consciousness or the planetary logos. So these are the very three specific um, positions, and for this present age and from the previous age, Maitreya holds the position of the Christ, of the world teacher. So Maitreya embodies the energy of love. And as I said, he did so for the previous age too. What does that mean? What that means is that 2,000 years ago, when another great teacher walked the earth, the Master Jesus, when he was traveling to Palestine, 2,000 years ago or so, he was being overshadowed by Maitreya. What does that mean? The process of overshadowing. The process of overshadowing is when the consciousness of a great being uses the bodies of manifestation of his student. It's a very specific relationship between teacher and student, between master and disciple. And in this case, it was between Maitreya, the master, the teacher, and his disciple, the Master Jesus. So 2,000 years ago, Jesus was overshadowed by the great teacher Maitreya. So Maitreya's consciousness entered the three vehicles of manifestation of the Master Jesus. These vehicles of manifestation are the physical body, the astral emotional body, and the mental body. And through a few years, in particular the last 2 years of Jesus' life, the ones that is recorded in the gospel stories, Maitreya was overshadowing Jesus, and his consciousness and all his abilities were being manifested through Jesus. Jesus was aware of this. It's a process in which Jesus doesn't lose his consciousness. There's always free will, and Jesus was completely aware and agreed to this process. This is a great process of service. Jesus offered a great service to the world, not only to Maitreya but to the world, by allowing the Christ to walk the earth and to release the teachings that were necessary, because 2,000 years ago we were entering the age of Pisces. So 2,000 years ago, certain teachings were being released through the Master Jesus and Maitreya. Basically, the concept of love as a path of evolution was introduced to the world. I will go into more specifics in another video, but that's what happened 2,000 years ago, and Jesus offered a great work of service, and that allowed him to speed up his evolution. Next month, during the month of December, during the Christmas season, I will talk more about this particular story, the gospel story, and this particular relationship between master and teacher that happened 2,000 years ago. But for this present age, for the age of Aquarius, this great avatar, Maitreya, is coming for the first time himself. He's not using any of his disciples. In previous life, previous eras, he had used other disciples to manifest himself. He did so to Krishna. I will talk about that in another video too. But this time he's coming by using himself. As I said, he has been living in London since 1977, and according to Benjamin Creme, he has been giving interviews now for about 10 years and televisions all over the world. Um, he has been giving interviews not as Maitreya, but as an individual with tremendous knowledge in some kind of field, whether it's politics or economics or education or who knows, right? He was on TV, as far as I understand, and he talks about his ideas as a member of the human family, not as a great teacher. Very soon, I hope, he will be able to introduce himself as who he fully is, the avatar for the age of Aquarius. Um, but before that, the conditions have to be perfect for him to make his entrance, right? And there are two ways for these conditions to move faster. One has to do with what I mentioned before, uh, the return of the Christ as Christ consciousness in the hearts of humanity. Humanity has to begin to absorb this energy of love within our hearts and then put it to work. We need to put love into action, and that means service. So we need to be of service of some kind. By doing service of some kind, we move forward in this path of evolution faster, and we also speed up this process of the return of the Christ. So when enough of the human members of the human family begin to awaken to this beautiful energy and manifest it through service and more specific through sharing, then we can speed up the process of the return of the Christ. The other one is a type of invocation, right? When we ask for help, it doesn't matter who we ask to, right? When we ask for help, the Master hear us, and then they do as much as they can to help us. When this clamor for help is loud enough and strong enough, then we can open doors that allow these masters to return to the everyday life. There's one missing link for Maitreya to be able to fully return to the open and teach, and that is the open invitation of humanity so that he can come. There are many ways that can happen, and one of them is through an interview. We could ask Maitreya to please come on TV and be part of an interview so that he can introduce himself. Benjamin Creme told the media the steps that needed to be taken so that they could fulfill this process, but to this date that hasn't happened, and we have taken the slow route to make the reappearance of the world teacher happen, and it's been happening faster and faster and faster, and 2020 seems to be the year in which everything is moving faster than before and things are speeding up. The way I interpret that is that we're getting closer and closer to this wonderful day, the day of declaration, when Maitreya can fully introduce himself to humanity and teach us. And hopefully, because as I said before, there's always free will, and that is a sacrosanct law that cannot be violated. So hopefully, when Maitreya introduces himself, we will be able to listen and to pay attention and to accept the teachings and move forward into the age of love, into the age of light, into the age of Aquarius. The way I understand it, because Maitreya has said so, is that we will say yes and we will want to change. I see no other way. I see no future for humanity unless we change, unless we embrace love and put it to work. There's really no future for humanity. So that is a brief description of what the return of the Christ and the Masters of Wisdom means. I will continue talking about this in future videos. Thank you for listening. Please, if you like what I have to say, like it, share these videos, post your comments and questions, and to see you soon. Stay safe. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.